Master's my friend. You don't have any friends. Nobody likes you. Not listening. Not listening. You're a liar. And a thief. No. Murderer.
Cap ready, and action!
Have you ever wondered what you would look like as an animated character, a monster, or even some type of creature? By combining a special skin-tight suit and the animation of the animator, the possibilities are endless with the use of motion capture. Motion capture is taking real-life movements and patterns of people and even animals and transmitting them to a computer. Then the animation process is applied and displays the animated version on the computer screen.
There are reflective markers placed at various different points on the person's body, and from that information, the markers will be picked up by the cameras because they're shiny markers, and that will locate the segments of the person's body in space.
Motion capture was originally used for the movie industry. The Avatar film made extensive use of motion capture. Each actor was filmed in a specially designed suit that tracked the movement, which was transmitted onto the screen as animation.
What are you saying, Jake? You knew this would happen?
Optical, mechanical, and magnetic are the three best and most efficient types of motion capture.
What you have to do ahead of time is consider what the type of motion is, what you plan to get out of it, because obviously all that affects the placement of the cameras and where they need to be in order to pick up all that motion.
The optical system usually deals with sports animation, such as evaluating different baseball or softball or golf swings.
From a sports perspective, there's always improved sport performance. You know, as an athletic trainer, I want to prevent injury. That's what I want to focus on. And I think that this information can be very helpful to us to see how somebody moves, to watch their movement.
It helps in defining the cause of sport injuries and athletic performance and how the heart and muscles move.
You could use it to enhance performance, to figure out what the person's doing and how they can change maybe either their patterns or their motion to enhance their performance.
The use of a motion capture suit is not necessary. Using tape or gluing the markers onto the subject is sufficient. This reduces the cost.
The main problem that can occur is when the markers drop off or they're obscured, and that could be the part of the person's body itself. It could be something else, like a piece of safety equipment that's in the way. And so the main issue or the way to deal with that is to be sure to place the cameras in such a way where the markers don't drop off at any point.
A downfall to an optical system is that the performer's movement may displace or lose critical information.
Markers that fell off due to sweat, the movement itself. If you don't put those markers on at exactly the same spot, your data is going to be different. There's a degree of error that does happen with the system, in terms of the way that the cameras can see the marker or the possibility of the computer. A very good system should only be about 1 millimeter to 2 millimeters of error.
Mechanical systems are very different, especially with the unique suit that is needed. The performer has to wear a suit that is almost like a skeleton. There is a lot of straight metal pieces that connects to the person's back. The suit's sensors can feel and pick up the rotation in the joints. With the mechanical system, it is common to have gloves or mechanical arms.
One thing about trains, it doesn't matter where they're going. What matters is deciding to get on.
I want to believe.
Well, thank you.
You don't want to be bamboozled. You don't want to be led down the primrose path.
The mechanical system must be calibrated very often, and unless there is another sensor put in, it does not know which direction the body is facing.
You survived because of me. Not anymore.
The magnetic systems are the most popular among the motion capture field. It was originally used in the military to track head movements of the pilots. The magnetic systems attach several different sensors onto the subject's body, with each sensor connected to a central magnet. Magnetic systems tend to use 6 to 11 sensors per subject. The sensors are able to measure the special difference between it and the transmitter.
The system should be pretty precise, but if you don't put your markers on, or if they fall off and you don't put them back on the same way, that can absolutely lead to a certain degree of error. Outside of really the camera setup, other than that, you really can't screw it up too much as long as you know what you're doing in terms of camera setup and putting the markers back on.
Because of the central magnet, magnetic fields interfere with data. Cement floors contain metal, which creates a magnetic field, so wooden stages have to be built instead. Also, cables have to be connected to the subject, and this limits his or her area of movement. The cables connect to the computer.
Knowing your equipment, making sure your equipment's up to date, and making sure it's calibrated are the best ways to avoid inaccuracies.
There are other systems of motion capture, like the prosthetic and the acoustic. The acoustic system uses audio receivers. Each sensor measures how long it takes sound to travel to each transmitter, but various sounds can hinder the data coming from the markers. The acoustic requires cords and wires attached to the subject. It could be a practical approach, except that it has very complex mechanical requirements. Also, its design has many limitations that often proves a struggle to overcome. What a lot of people don't realize is that they may have a motion capture system in their own home. These gaming systems like Nintendo Wii or one of Microsoft's newest inventions, the Kinect for an Xbox. What many motion capture animators will do is bring in a professional fighter like a martial artist to render a realistic effect in these scenes. The martial artist's trained moves will greatly enhance the authenticity of the game. Some examples of video games that use motion capture are Madden NFL Football, The Legend of Zelda, and the very popular Halo 4. Without a motion capture arena, all of the animation would not be possible. Sufficient space allows a performer to move around with no interference. Most of the time, the director and staff are present in the room while the subject is performing.
Action! Your attention, please.
Are there any Polar Express passengers in need of refreshment?
The software and hardware are in there too, which avoids any sort of conflict or problems that may occur. It has the capabilities to do an aerial view when most capturing is done on the ground level.
So in terms of setup, being extremely precise, making sure the cameras can see every range of motion that you need them to see. For my purposes, when we have the arm way above the head, I have to make sure my cameras can get that high. So having them nice and high or mounted on the wall was a bonus for me.
A good motion capture system is equipped with cameras, suit, software, hardware, and the arena. You might want to decide if you want something close up. For example, if you're going to do running, like treadmill running, you might just want a picture of the foot as you're watching the heel strike as it's coming across the treadmill. Whereas if you're trying to look at gait patterns, you might want a wider view to see what their whole body is doing, the segmented motions as they run through a certain segment. It is going to cost as much or even more than $1 million. Cameras are the big money breaker. It could be over $34,000 just for 4 cameras.
Each camera itself is right around $30,000. The entire system, when you pay for the licensing fee, the software, all of the networking, you're probably looking at about a good system over $1 million in terms of all the cameras.
Right now and in the future, motion capture will be a big help, especially to our military. It is able to prevent everyday injuries like carrying a bag around all day.
If we're able to safely simulate through modeling and some of the biomechanical work you can do with motion capture, to simulate some of the overuse injuries that are happening with our troops and things that we can prevent, I think that's a huge application. Understanding the load that they carry during battle, not during battle, from this type of motion capture would have huge implications.
For the future, I can only imagine motion capture becoming even more realistic to the point where the use of special effects makeup will be obsolete. Why pay money for someone to put heavy makeup on when they can wear a suit that resembles a more realistic character? It may be a little more expensive, but with the money received from the tickets at the box office, it would be money well spent. People of 2013 are all about the newest and greatest technology. That's why we will pay big bucks to see the best animation and technology possible. Motion capture is the new and upcoming way of creating the most lifelike animation possible. It recreates patterns and movements of the subject. Motion capture has the capabilities to go beyond the expectation and create something that can only be done through the works of animation. In conclusion, optical, mechanical, and magnetic are the finest systems of motion capture. Each one offers different techniques and specializes in something different. Cost is one of the biggest concerns about buying any one of these systems. Motion capture gives the ability to the animator to be as creative as he or she wants. The subject can be turned into a number of things like a troll or an eerie monster. The imagination is endless.